Hello, hello. Can I fix the light? This is my forever question. Like now it's just dark. Ah! This is my forever question. Hi guys. How's everyone doing? I have very I don't know, 80s hair. Like I just decided to leave it. I was like, we're doing this. Whatever this is, I'm committing to it. It's a thing. Hi, who's here? Putina, Martian ambassador. Hello. Hi, EG. Hi, Brian. Hi, Matt. Hi, Hannes. Hi, Putina. Hi. Hannes, Blackburn. What's up? I'm looking forever young. That's great. That's my goal. I want to look 13 when I'm 80. We can do it, people. Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen. I remember I worked with this guy once. That's really weird. I worked with this guy once and some years, was it like a year? I think it was a few years that passed between the time that we worked together. And I remember when when he saw me, he was like, did you get younger? Anyway, it was just funny. He literally wondered if I had a little sister. I think it was just I went from being platinum to maybe having darker hair. I don't know what it was. I just gave off younger vibes. Your college teacher said you're 12. Does that count? Yeah, that can count. I always actually got the comment when I was younger. They're like, oh, you're an old soul. I used to get that a lot. But then I kind of had this theory for a while that, you know how they say that people get stuck at the age that they found success? People sometimes talk about child stars in this way. They got stuck at a certain age. I kind of feel like for a while I got stuck, not when I had success, but something really important happened in my life, and I feel like I got stuck there, looking and acting that age, if that makes sense, embodying that age for a really long time, because I don't know, because I couldn't move because I wasn't moving through it. Hey, Katie. Yeah. I think I've moved through it now, though. Have I? I mean, there's something kind of sad to me, too, about having moved through that. I know that sounds really terrible, but that's just it. We get really attached to, our, I don't know. We get really attached to our, I hate this word, but our trauma. At least I did. It was this wounding, because it became such a formative part of my character and my history. It was so important to who I was. It was you don't understand me until you know about this. And it's not like I would share it with a lot of people, but it defined everything. And without it, which is kind of where I'm at now, where I'm strange. It's really strange. And it's oh, I don't have this sob story anymore. I don't have this thing that makes me different. This thing that has people go, oh, that's why you're the way you are. Because you've been through so much. I don't have that. And it's very freeing. It's oh, I guess I'm normal. So that's nice. I don't feel as left out in that way. At the same time, there's like a kind of phantom ache. Isn't that messed up? They always think you're way older. Oh, yeah. That's true too. There's this really interesting study. I think it's interesting, and I think it's so revealing, about how they took older people, like seniors, I want to say like 70s, 80s, not that old, and they put them in this, I want to say like a house, but it was like a residence, and and they filled the residence with things from their youth. So like posters and artwork and music, and I think the furniture, everything was decorated to remind them of their youth. And the people started acting younger, and actually all of their ailments, like their physical complaints, went to, like, if they didn't completely go away, they got much, much better. Like, people literally started feeling physically younger, and their bodies started reflecting that. And I'm like, hi, that's like such great evidence that, I don't know, it's not like aging is a myth, but like you are who you think you are, and your body is what you think it is. And so whenever people are like, oh man, I'm getting old, I'm like, if you say so, that's what you want. Wait, what? You actually placed a fake cigarette in the biology skeleton mouth or jaw area. I love that. Good for you. I actually like that. I think that's very funny. What? Martian, I don't exactly know what you mean, but I'm gonna have my own interpretation of what you mean. Oh my god. For some reason that brought back a dream I had last night, but I don't know if I should share it. No, I'm not gonna share it. It was about Timothy Chalamet and Michael Cera. I have weird dreams. Yeah, I do know what you mean. Still feel 16. Those are the days. Feel 16 forever then. Do what you want. Be whatever age you want. Like, it's just an idea. You know that too, right? Like, being 16 is an idea. Being 8 years old is an idea. So whatever that means for you, be that. Have that. Live there. I've also had times in my life when I'm like, I feel like I'm 50 years old. I feel like I've talked about this a little bit. For a period, I was listening to a lot of Marc Maron. It makes sense that I was drawn to Marc Maron too, because I was feeling that way. And I was like, I feel like I am this crotchety old man. Now, I was not. But I, like, lived inside of that kind of persona. And I didn't realize that, like, I didn't have to. Again, I feel like we find something attractive about it. Yeah. I had some weird dreams. I mean, there was a whole, like, backstory, but I remember I was kind of, like, I was dating a lot of celebrities. And, we were doing, like, a kind of movie or something, and I forget who was, like, a bigger asshole. It's not meant for kids. But let's just say there was some kind of, like, I don't even know what to say. I don't even fully remember. I just remember there was sexual tension, let's put it like that. between them. I used to write my dreams down, and I also used to record my dreams. And lucid dreaming, I've wanted to, like, I've dabbled, you know, I'm sure most people have, where you're like, you look up methods and you find like meditations before going to bed, and people tell you like, oh, check the time throughout the day, and you kind of do that. I feel like for me, I have, since I can remember, been able to know when I'm in a dream, but it doesn't sound like what other people are doing, where they're like, I'm in a dream, and then they fly. I can kind of control it to a certain extent, but it's like I can't realize I'm dreaming too much. I can't take too much control, otherwise it's like I slip into that kind of like pre-falling asleep state. So I'll be like drowsy, but I'll kind of be awake. Does that make sense? Anyway, and I've also tried astral projection. I said that weird. And they say that you should wake up at like 4 a.m. This is the method that I've heard the most, is like, you want to wake up at 4 a.m. Get up, be like awake. So wake your mind up, and then go back to sleep, and let your body fall asleep, but keep your mind awake. And I know this sounds like, whatever, if you really want to do it, you should do it. I literally just like, I don't feel like waking up at 4 a.m. It's not worth it to me to be tired, for it not to work, and for me just to be tired. So I want to find another way. I feel like I will experience it at some point in my life, though. I really do. That's a very strange conviction, but I really do feel like these kind of crazy, I don't want to call it spiritual, because I don't think it's spiritual, but like these kind of crazy otherly experiences, I do feel like I'm going to have it at some point. Yes, I have had dreams come true. Yeah. I've also had people dream about me. That was true. Like things that I'd never told them, they dreamt about. No, but see, maybe I would be okay now, but it used to be like, oh, if I'm awake, I'm awake. So I don't want to do that. Okay, Blackburn. I appreciate you being here. Like, I've just been talking about nothing, basically. Thanks for coming on. All right. I'm going to get into the topic. So, let me see. I wasn't really sure what I was going to talk about, and then someone suggested I talk about radical change of attitude. This is like a Neville Goddard based idea. I've talked a little bit about Neville Goddard, but I'm happy to revisit. Radical change of attitude and repentance. And I guess I don't want to go into like repentance. It's just another fancy word for like everything that I kind of talk about, and even that I've been talking about today, which is like, you have this old idea, you have these old beliefs, you have like this old way of being, and you just don't go back there. You're like, we have a new way of being now. Okay? So I'm not going to get into like Neville Goddard. For those of you who don't know, he gets a lot into the Bible, and it's why, for me at least, it was quite off-putting at first, because not coming from a Christian faith, I put on this guy who's just quoting passages from the Bible, and I'm thinking, this isn't for me, I don't want this, and I turn it off. But that's not what he's about. He's about manifestation, and it's no different from what every other mystic is telling you, actually, what he's explaining. He's just explaining it mostly through the use of the Bible. So what I wanted to talk about was change. And a thought came to my head that I kind of just want to explore with you guys, which is whatever's going on in your life right now, if there's something you want different, like something you're not happy with, and I want it to be this way. When is this gonna happen for me? I want this, or I'm not happy with this, blah, blah, blah. So some like circumstance, something in your life that like, it isn't the way that you want it. Oh wait, I have a visitor. Hi.
Are you going to say hi to all your people again?
Yeah.
Well, I'm ready for a concert.
Did you have something to tell me?
Just that.
Oh, okay.
Hi.
Yeah. So E.G., like, you obviously come from, well, anyway, it, like, vibes with your own beliefs. That wasn't the case for me when I first came across him. Anyway, so there's something... She has a concert today. Obviously. So there's something that, like, you're not happy with and you want to change it. You want change. You want your life to be different. And I guess the question for myself and for all of you is, like, are you willing to just change yourself? If your life is a perfect reflection, and it is actually, it's a perfect reflection of who you are. It's a perfect reflection of who you are. Your whole life, all of your circumstances, everything that's happening, all of your relationships, everything you have, everything you can do, everything you say, everything you think, everything you feel, it's like a perfect reflection of who you are. It's like a memory foam pillow. Your 3D, your life is a memory foam pillow to who you've been being. Okay, so from that place, there's nothing to change but yourself. So my question is, like, do you actually want to change yourself? Is that actually something you want? Or do you just want the circumstances to be different? And okay, there's no right answer to this. You might be like, no, actually, I'm not willing to give that up. I'm not willing to change me. I'm not willing. And then that's fine, if that's really where you're at. But, like, imagine that, okay, you feel completely different than you do. So again, let's, like, forget about the thing that you're trying to manifest, or, like, forget about the thing that you don't like, or the thing that you want different. Forget about that for a second, because that's just coming from you. So are you willing to change without any attachment to the outcome of that? Are you just willing to change? I'm going to ignore that and I'm just going to change. I'm going to think differently. I'm going to feel differently. I'm going to be different. Do you actually want to be different? That's, like, the only question that you should ever be asking yourself. Do I like who I'm being right now, or do I not? And from that place, if the answer is yes, like, actually, I do want to be different, guess what? Great news. That is available to you always. Like, that's basically, like, our only power. And we always have freedom in that area. And sometimes it's big, and sometimes it's small. Okay, so I don't care if it's, like, such a baby step that you're just like, I'm just gonna slightly feel better. I'm just gonna slightly hate myself less. When I look in the mirror, if I normally criticize my nose and I think, God damn it, I'm just gonna slightly not hate it as much. You know? I'm just gonna throw in a, like, well, it is what it is. I'm gonna throw that in there. That's fine. There you go. You just change yourself. There you go. That's all you have to do. So again, Forget like trying to change what's out there. We don't need to mess with that. And messing with that, think about this. If you're like, no, I don't want to change. I just want that to be different. You're just stuck being you wanting the other stuff to be different. And you're really like, I don't know, how do I explain this? It's just like, if that's really your state of being, then like, and you're just like, no, I just want it, and I don't want to feel differently at all. I just want to be exactly as I am, and I just want everything else to be different. Like, coming from that place, to me, just like really means that you're just really stuck in your perspective and your state of being in that way. Because that's how it works. Like, you change yourself and the outside changes. It's just how it works. And we've all done this all the time. It applies for like learning anything. I think everyone has had the experience where like, for some reason, you're stuck on a certain problem and you feel like, oh, if I just keep doing this, at some point it's going to go in my head. And there is some truth to that, because like we're forming connections in our brain. There is like something to that. And actually, like, I was thinking about this a bit before. It's like every time you apply yourself to learning something, you're actually changing yourself. You're like physically forming new connections. You're actually changing yourself, right? You're not like, oh, I just want to be a better piano player. You're like, okay, I'm going to change myself and become the piano player I want to be. But anyway, everyone's had the experience where like suddenly you come to the material and it's different. You're paying attention to things differently. You're hearing it differently. I'm relating a lot to piano, but it's like, that's just something that's really present in my life right now, so it's really easy to give examples of this. So for instance, something that I've discovered about playing piano is if I want it to sound, let's say like I want to enhance certain notes in the bass, the most obvious way for me at least was like, okay, I'm going to consciously like make those notes loud, whatever. I'm going to like focus and I'm going to make those notes loud. But what I've discovered is like, if I just listen for those notes, how it sounds with those notes ringing out, I play them like that. So if I listen, and like by doing that, by like having that, I'm actually being different with the music. I'm being different with the instrument. I'm being different with myself and my playing. I've completely changed my relationship. And I'm coming from a different place, right? As opposed to just like however I was trying to get it before. Now suddenly I'm curious. Now suddenly like, I don't know, there's just something different, softer about it. And I'm not trying so hard to like, I just want to play. Now it's almost like I'm open and flexible and I'm different around it. So everything in your life, you actually have a relationship to. That's what makes it what it is. Nothing like is just a blank to you. You have a relationship to it. It can be like soft, it can be subtle, but you have something around it, you have some like, there's no such thing as a chair, but like you make it a chair, okay? And then you have like a relationship to chairs and like a relationship to certain furniture and a relationship to your house. Now that is actually like what's real, your relationship, and you can change that at any moment in time. You can change your view if you're willing to do so. If you're really willing to be like, I want to think differently about this thing. I want to feel differently about this thing. I want to notice and observe and relate to this thing differently. I'm willing to change myself without trying to force or expecting this thing to be different. Instead, I'm going to change over here and like relate to it differently. So instead of like, oh, I want my house to be cleaner. I hate my house being dirty. I hate it. We're just like confirming that the house is dirty, as opposed to, okay, I'm going to start looking at my house like it's clean. I know this sounds crazy, but Stay with me. I'm going to start looking at my house like it's clean. I'm going to start looking for it being clean. And I don't know exactly what's going to happen. But suddenly, maybe I'll have like an urge to clean that I didn't before. Because before, all I was focused on was how dirty it was. Maybe I'll start like, I don't know, appreciating. I'll start like seeing it differently. I'll start being around it differently. I'll live in it differently. Everything will change if I do that. And this applies to people too. It's not so much that we're trying to control them. I think sometimes with manifestation or things like that, we're like, okay, give me like the magic formula. And then that person will be completely different. But we're still focused out there believing that's truth and that this is just fiction. I'm just imagining some things, but really I just want that thing that's real over there to change. If you can switch that in your mind and go like, no, actually what's real is like the interface. What's real is like the me shot outwards. And that's creating the image on the screen. Okay? So I don't care what's out there. I mean, it's interesting. I can enjoy it. And again, because the interface is what's real, like it's valuable feedback. And I can see myself changing in real time just based on how I perceive it now in this moment. But what you really want and what you want to want is that like this changes, the interface changes. And from that place, like you realize that you're completely free. So it's like nothing outside of you changes. This is acceptance, basically. The like ironic thing about acceptance is it's change. So if you actually accept something, in that moment you've changed yourself. If there's been something that you're fighting against for a really long time, and you go, I accept this. In that moment, you actually just changed yourself. And you said that this thing that before was not tolerable, was awful, was terrible, now it's acceptable. You're okay. You're okay. You've just like declared that you're okay. And forget the circumstance. Just like focus on the beingness. You've declared that like your beingness is okay exactly as it is. And from that place, guess what? You get to be someone who's okay exactly as everything is. And that's ultimately what we want. We're just so caught up thinking that no, I can't be happy unless I get that over there. That's not true. Decide right now that you get to feel wonderful and you get to think good thoughts and you get to feel good and you get to live in a state that is like at peace and happy and prosperous and lucky and grateful, and whatever it is that you want to experience and feel, just give that to yourself. Something that I forget who introduced this idea, but I just think it's life-changing if you actually employ it, is like whenever you want something, give it to yourself. In that moment, just give it to yourself. Meaning like, and again, detach yourself completely from the outcome. But if it's like, often this is something like you see outside. You're like, oh, there's a couple and they're cute and they're kissing and they're whatever. You know, and you might go, I wish I had that. Okay, give that to yourself. Like, what you're responding to is like, wouldn't that feel nice? Or whatever it is that why do you want it? Wouldn't that feel nice? Wouldn't I be like happy and whatever? So like give it to yourself. Take that feeling, take that state and give it to yourself in that moment. Don't be like concerned that you're not actually in a couple or that like, oh, but I'm crazy, I'm delusional. No, you're delusional because everyone's delusional, because we're all like imagining our lives basically. Yeah. Give it to yourself in that moment. Change yourself in that moment. Like, tune yourself in that moment to the thing that you want to experience. And forget about the outcome. Just be like, I don't want to be this anymore. I think I actually like want to sit a bit with this question about like, am I actually willing to change? Meaning that for myself, I have things that I want. I do. Like, I talk about all of this, but still there are things that I want. I want them. I want them, and I'm like, where is it? I find myself thinking that. And I guess if I were to let that go, like really let it go. This is what letting go actually means, by the way. Is like, stop paying so much attention to the thing not being there. And I were to be like, no, me not getting the things or me living the current life, which is perfectly fine, is a perfect reflection of myself, of who I am. And that person that has the things that I want is actually someone else, is being someone else, feels differently, thinks differently. That's the only difference between us. But they are different. They're not current me. So am I actually willing to step into that person? Am I actually willing to like let this version go? Am I actually willing to think different thoughts and feel differently about my life? Am I willing to change? And maybe change is the wrong word. It's the word I use, but like, am I willing to not be this? Am I willing to be something else? And you don't even really have to like know what that is. That's kind of the magic of it too, is like just knowing, like, you can explore it. You know, you can be like, okay, I'm not going to feel this way anymore. I'm not going to think this way anymore. I don't know exactly what I'm going to think and feel, but I'm going to like kind of grope for it in the dark, you know? I'm going to reach around for it. What would that feel like? What would I think like? What would I think like? And I don't get to be this anymore. That's the hard truth. I don't get to identify as this person anymore. Bye. She's gone. She's gone. And this is always happening. So, I don't know. It's kind of freeing. The other side of this too is like, you have a choice. If you don't want to change, you don't have to. And part of the like paradox of this too is like, don't get so caught up into trying to change yourself. Because that's also coming from a place that like, who you are isn't good. I know that sounds like it contradicts itself, but like, again, with acceptance, it's like, if you actually answer that question like, no, I'm okay. I'm good. I like who I am. Then you're accepting yourself in that moment, and you're also like accepting your circumstances. Meaning like, I choose this. It's okay, I choose this. And because you haven't been choosing it for so long, like you haven't. You've been saying, oh, why this? But if you actually choose it, you've just changed yourself. You've just been different towards it in that moment. And if you stick to that, if that has like a profound impact on you, guess what? You just changed. And guess what? From that place, like, it might just come in. Because now you're different. Now you're like, actually, I really like my life. Or you don't even have to like it, but you're like, I choose it. I'm not willing to change. So I guess I choose this. I'm not going to change it. I'm just going to have it. I'm just going to be with it. Okay. All right. Honestly, if you get to that place, I kind of think that's a huge breakthrough for you. And if you're not in that place and you're like, I choose differently, then choose that. Like, be firm in your convictions. If there is someone you want to be, just commit to that person. something else that I'm kind of curious about is like coming up with alter egos. Like, I don't think it's a coincidence that a lot of artists literally come up with names for themselves. Like, new names. And from that place, they're allowed to be something new. I've never had the balls to do that. Because I guess I kind of thought I have to figure out how to be this person. I have to figure out how to be Janessa. I have to make this person work. No, I don't. First of all, my idea of what that is my own. If I would rather be something, that's just as true as anything. Like, it has me thinking of like The Great Gatsby and things like that we're told like, you gotta be true to yourself. And if you're like running from the past, then it's gonna catch up with you. I mean, it's a bit more complicated than that. If you don't have a problem with the past, but you're just like stepping into a new future, that's fine. And your you-ness is not a personality, is not opinions, is not like favorite foods, it's not a routine, it's not a schedule. Like, who you are is so much more than that. So don't really feel like you're betraying yourself by doing that. If that helps you, create someone new. I don't know why I can't. Like, I kind of feel it a bit when I call myself Nessa, but like, yeah, yesterday I was like, what if I just changed my stage name? Is it too late in the game? Can I just change it already? I wish I had changed it, but I didn't. Change your state of mind. Yes, change your state. Like, also, ask yourself this question. Who are you? How are you you? What makes you you? How do you know you're alive? How do you know you're a person? How do you know you're the person you say you are? How do you know? What is telling you that? Ask yourself that. And pay attention. Like, the truth is you don't need any teachers to explain this to you, because it's there for you to discover all on your own. Consciousness is there for you to discover. Beingness is there for you to discover all on your own if you just pay enough attention. So ask yourself that. Who are you? How do you know that's who you are? How do you know? Is that true that's who you are? Or do you just think that's who you are? And what's the difference? Ask yourself that. So with state is like, yes, if I change my state, suddenly I start interacting with everything differently. Okay? And again, like, I think people are more verbs than they are nouns. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're a reaction. You're a interface. You're a being with yourself and all that is. Okay? So if you change the music, so to speak, if you change the vibe, then it's going to be different. It's going to be different, and you will be different. And if you change that enough, that's automatic. Ideally, you want this to become automatic. It's not really there until it is. Until it's like you cannot not be that person. And who you are right now is only like who you think you are because it's so automatic. My hair looks very well today. It looks well. Nessa Miller. There you go, Nessa Miller. See, this is a thing. But really, can I just change my, like, Nessa Grant? I always just thought, like, oh, I can't have Nessa Grant. It doesn't work. Nessa Grant. I don't know. And then everyone else is always like, "Oh, your name is so lovely, Janessa." And I'm like, yeah, it's okay. Aw, you're so welcome, EG. Yeah, if you think positively, you attract good people also. Yeah, because they're you, pushed out. They are. I think, I mean, I don't know everything there is to know, but attraction, such a weird word. I don't know that we're attracting anything. Attraction. I have to think about that. Meaning it just like is, it's a reflection. Like for some reason that just works better for me. Meaning that you don't need like the people to change. You don't need like the characters. Okay, these people need to go and now I'm gonna draw in better people. It's like literally the people in your life right now are fine. You just are stuck seeing them a certain way. And they're forced to be how you see them. Like, I'm still a bit wrestling with this because I think I have a tendency to, how do we put this? Like, it has something to do with boundaries and not putting up with like abuse, but kind of always making myself wrong in some situations and not standing up for myself. So I kind of stay stuck in patterns in that way. But if you think about it, that like you're kind of imprisoning others to show up as these shitty versions of themselves, and like they really want to love you. They really, really want to love you. They really, really want to show up for you. They really want to be amazing for you, and they want to be amazing people. And you're the one getting in the way of that. It kind of flips everything on its head. And you're like, I'm the one preventing that. And it's kind of something nice to meditate on. Like, what if I just let everyone be the best version of themselves? It's even like, I love perception changes. So recently I've gotten into classical music. Like recently I was like, I want to understand this thing. I want to know this thing. I want to be able to listen to it and appreciate it and know what the piece is and blah blah blah. I want to understand this world. Okay. And I come from like classical music parents. So I should know this, but I don't. Okay? And even just like within a week, it's changed how I see my parents, because now, how do we put it? They're like, we're on the same side, kind of. And I see that their views and their opinions aren't like radical or anything like that. So they didn't change at all. I just changed my perspective on something. Like my dad really likes Mahler. And so I was listening to Mahler and learning about Mahler. And it's not like unusual for classical music nerds to really get excited by Mahler. Like that seems to be the consensus. You listen to Mahler and it's life-changing. Seems to be what everyone goes through. Most people, what they go through. So even just that little bit of knowledge, I'm like, oh, my dad's kind of a regular guy. And I understand where he's coming from. And I don't know, I just see him more as a person. As opposed to this like weirdo who's really into classical music and knows everything there is to know about classical music. I'm like, oh, there's people who just know that because that's their alma mater. And that's what it is. Like, the reason he can identify every piece of music is because he's played it. Is because, like, he's conducted it. That's why. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about? Wagner. Interesting. Why do you like Wagner? Apparently, I was learning this the other day. Around the 20th century, there were two schools of thought. I mean, this is like something that's been going on forever. But there was like, you know, anti-classicism. Like, let's do away with all of that. It's time for new music. And Wagner actually thought opera is the future of music. Music for the sake of music itself, without story behind it, that's dead. People aren't interested in that. We're not going to have that. And then there was another school of thought that I want to say was like with Schumann and maybe Liszt. I'm not exactly sure. I can't quite remember. And they were like, no, we have to uphold the classic traditions. So that was going on at the same time, and butting heads. And then Brahms emerged, who bridged the gap. And actually, of course, there's always like a middle. Seems like that's how progress is made. High-class pornography. Really? Did they put classical music? You should listen to classical music. Oh. See, that song is so overplayed. I actually know that one, though. There you go. I know it was a joke. I know it was a joke, Martian. All right. I might go because of movies. Yeah, it's just what you're exposed to. It's fine. Top Gun, all the greatest hits of 80s in one movie. Still need to watch Top Gun. Still need to see that. I'm just on this big classics. I don't know. I'm on this big, like, I just want to learn everything and expose myself to so much culture lately. That's what I'm really, really into. So it's great. I'm loving it. Loving, loving, loving it. Don't go. Well, I mean, I kind of said everything I had to say. Is there anything else to say? Aw, Brian. I guess, like, one thing I just want to say is, like, find something, if you haven't done this already, find something that interests you. Doesn't even have to interest you a lot. Just slightly. I'm just curious. I just wonder about this sometimes. And just explore it. Give yourself over to, like, anything that interests you. Just do it. I don't care. Don't judge it. Just do it. It shouldn't even be, like, follow your passions. You know that expression? It shouldn't be that. It should be follow your curiosity. Follow your curiosity. Following your passion is like, well, some people get a lot. They feel pressure around that. Like, what's my passion? I have to find my passion. I have to find it. Where is it? What is it? What if I don't find it? What happens? My life is ruined unless I find my passion. What you actually want to do is like, you want to find your passion. Like literally, like, I want to find passion in myself. That's actually what it means. Find the passion in yourself that is there. And how do you do that? You follow whatever you're interested in. And you just see like, where does this go? I'm kind of curious about this. Aw, thanks, Katie. That's really nice. Always a pleasure. Okay. Cruezy. Yeah, okay. All right, guys. I love you so much. And I think I'm going to go outside because I haven't been outside today. And it actually looks like a nice day. I've just been like at my piano, trying to read and doing things and nerding out about classical music. So if that's your passion, I want you to follow that, okay? You collect all the Elvis Presley paintings there can be. Honestly. And again, do not judge it. You don't know where that's going to lead you. The thing with that too, by the way, let's like talk about, I was going to go. But, okay. If your life is about who you're being, right? This is why it works. And you're like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing in my life, but I like this. And you let go of the outcome. And you're just like, I'm just going to find Elvis Presley paintings. I know you were putting it as a joke, but you're, okay. As you're doing that, if you're like sincerely interested in that, who are you being in that moment? You're being like interested. You're being like, if it really is interesting and it's really fulfilling, you're being like fulfilled, you're being interested, you're being like happy, basically. And so your life is going to reflect that. Okay? Because like it puts you in a space of like a good space. It gives you good vibes, man. So like follow the things that make you feel good. That's it. It's really that simple. All right. Some Wagner. I haven't ventured into Wagner. Do I like Wagner? I don't know. Guys, listen to Mahler's Second Symphony, okay? That is your homework. Listen to Mahler's Second Symphony, Resurrection. If you do not want to listen to the full thing, just listen to the fifth movement and get back to me, all right? Thank you, E.G. Okay, goodbye. Have a beautiful week. And, you know, I think you're wonderful.